channels, which is at MN Data Solutions 2042. आप जरूर subscribe करिएगा. It takes you how to take the data securely from Tally onto any web application using the JSON API. So, because JSON is normally now the recommended mode of transport for secure data transfer between any two softwares. So हम लोगों ने JSON में किया है. And हमारा जो the unique thing about our solution is that we are able to extract unlimited number of companies, and we have extracted the raw Tally data. We did not extract the XML reports from Tally. We extracted the raw Tally data, and from there the raw Tally data, and then we understood the Tally code and regenerated the Tally reports from there. The logic was that, see, Tally has got about say 400 to 500. I think more than 400 reports are there in Tally. It is, and there are very lot of options. It is next to impossible to take the XML output of each set of reports and then across all the different companies and then take it. It is best to take out the raw data across multiple companies and then regenerate the report using the relational database on the database server. Now, we get a lot of requests from various software companies that look, they want to put in the data back into Tally, right? So this thing put in the data back into Tally, and there are certain technical points which are there, so people who are following this channel will understand. We have taken the raw data from Tally onto the SQL Server database, right? And then after reverse engineering the Tally logic, we have coded the same at the at the database level. तो हम आपको पूरा का पूरा document दे देंगे. So in a way, it's basically what we have done is that we have replicated the on-fly calculations of Tally at the database level. That means Tally has got a certain TDL code by which it takes the raw object or the collection and puts it into a report, and that logic of that object and report is now in the database. Is that clear? And it's in a form that you can easily plug and play into it. There's a staging layer, there's a data warehouse ODS layer, there are aggregation layers. Now, a lot of the companies are basically saying that, look, boss, I want to get an accounting package integrated with my ERP or a software, or I want to insert the data into Tally from there. Now, there are two ways of going about it, and which I'll tell you. And there are, companies from outside of India have adopted a slightly different approach. One way is that the software company makes its own API. We give the logic, okay, fine, this is how Tally stores. It makes its own API. And then based on the Tally serial number, we take that particular API and insert the data using collections into Tally. So as people who are very, who are technical, who have done a basic BC or MCA, would know that if you take basically a hierarchical database and try to update the same, it's a very complex process. Updating a relational database or inserting new data into a relational database is easier, because hierarchical databases, that the entire tree gets affected. So initially we used to be very nervous about updating or inserting into a hierarchical database, but people have asked for it, so we have got this. So we say, okay, fine, you give us your API and we'll insert it into Tally serial number, which is a very cumbersome process, and which is so basically we follow the Tally schema: the group, the ledger, the voucher ledger, then the stock item group, then stock item master, and then the voucher inventory details. We insert the entire schema, and then we basically go about it. The second way, which we believe is that other software companies could consider for very quick turnaround times, is a way that we have the database in a relational database form on the cloud, right? Using the Python script at the relational database, we can insert the data from any other API. It's the same at the database level. The database is the same logic as you would get for Tally ERP. So what can be done is that your JSON API could be there. We could plug in with our data warehouse, generate all your reports, and then based on those particular reports, you can plug it back into your ERP, or you can use our data warehouse to generate Tally generated accounting reports under ERP. So the database or data warehouse could be a bridge by which you get an accounting application which is tally conformant. In case you're very keen, you need to put it onto the web. We have got a Python application. You can export the Excel output, and then the end client using that Excel output could import the data back into Tally. That is also a possibility. Now, using this relational database module, what I believe is the possibility for companies is a lot more, because one is that they do not have to worry about inserting the data into each of the Tally instance. Because suppose I've got 100 customers, then I have to take care of those 100 instances where the Tally data is to be inserted. I can simply say that, look, I'll have one particular database instance, I will integrate with the same, get the Tally business logic reports, and then wherever required, then I will plug in the data. Now, in our data warehouse, we have got the data into Tally Prime insertion format and single table, which basically means voucher ledger, inventory, batch, bill, everything included, right, including the ledger master. So there is one single table which we will give, which you can export it in Excel, and then the end client can simply import it back into Tally if he really needs it. Otherwise, using your own software, you can make your own accounting application which is Tally conformant using the data warehouse. So this is one approach which I basically believe that can be adopted by various accounting firms to do it very quickly, because we are ETL experts. So you give us data in any format, we can do the SQL coding here and then put it into a format which is Tally. Now, why this approach needs to be considered is because before we actually do the plugin, what we would do is we will extract the raw data of Tally from the client interface onto the data warehouse. Now, Tally operates in a very different way. It operates in a format that you can have dynamic group hierarchy, right? So a ledger can have 4 parents, 5 parents, 6 parents, 8 parents, and 10, so forth. In each of the group hierarchies, the client's business logic could be done. The same hierarchy could be extended to items 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as many as you want, and this thing is there. The definition of sales also is very different. So once we extract the data for the client using our module and plug it into database, and then we plug in your module, then we can easily set up the parent and child relationships for the item and the group hierarchy before the Tally conformed report is done. So at the database level, we will match your debits and the credits, but also we will take the ledger and the group hierarchy and the stock item and the stock group hierarchy, match it completely with the client's hierarchy before we give him a Tally conformed report. So the way it will work out is that we will extract the data of the ledger and the group masters and the item masters from the client. For each of the clients, we have a plugin, plug it into the database, look at whether he has got 2 levels, 3 levels, 6 levels, or 8 levels of hierarchy, what each level of hierarchy means, because he could have a very different hierarchy, right? Each client can have its own hierarchy. Then take your module and then plug it into that database and then generate the Tally generated accounting report at the cloud level itself, and that you can use it, because most of the software companies have the skills for generating reports but also for generating invoices, and they have the ready-made code for doing automated email follow-up, email generation, and so forth. All that is there. So they just need an intermediary layer to transfer the data onto a Tally business logic, and that a data warehouse can provide. And this is what I believe could be an approach for various end clients. And in case you are interested in getting an accounting package which is Tally conformed based, then please do get in touch with us. We have the raw Tally schema with us, the raw Tally logic with us. We have a ready-made data warehouse. Python developers, we can integrate your database at the cloud itself. The clever thing is to stick with the cloud, because cloud has got massive processing power. If you try and approach each of the client individually, you might have a net connection, you might have a breakage of net connection, it might have a Tally serial number, you might have a different hierarchy, you might for ledger and for items, you might have support issues with each of the customers. It's best you do everything in the cloud at one centralized repository, one centralized location. Give him his accounting, this thing, the balance sheet, the profit and loss, because everything is ready, and give it to him as a web portal, output, and your job is basically done. So do consider this approach. In case you require any need, please do get in touch with us. And thank you very much for your time. Any questions? Any questions before I come to the end of the live session? Thank you, sir, very much for your time. The next session would be a bit short, and I will try and explain how exactly you can do the integration. So this there'll be another session for it, and you can look forward to it. So do get your software with a ready-made accounting package using our module, and based on the Tally hierarchy. And thank you very much.